You are lying in your bed. The dull whirring of your air conditioner is the only noise separating you from total silence. You know that particular silence that is so heavy and so thick that it's almost the equivalent of a loud noise itself. The kind of silence where you could hear a pin drop 3 rooms away in. The kind of silence that fills your ears with the sound of your own heartbeat as your ear presses against your pillow. That kind of silence. The dull whirring is the only noise you can hear, a noise that typically goes unnoticed until it's the only noise present. It's comforting whether you realize it or not, a sort of white noise. But suddenly, your room is back at the temperature specified on the thermostat, and the whirring comes to a stop as the vent makes a dull clang. To your misfortune, you are not yet asleep, and the silence begins to set in. You should be comforted by the knowledge that you could hear anything and everything in your surroundings, making up for the lack of vision provided by the darkness, but you aren't. In fact, it's this very environment that sets you on edge, causes your heart to beat a bit faster, makes your body tense without explanation, and makes you aware when you're not alone. But you are alone, right? You've been laying there with your eyes closed for almost 15 minutes now, and you made sure everything was normal in your room before you turned off the light. Yes, you're a smart one. All those Facebook quizzes you took have just reinforced what you already know. If you were in a horror movie, you'd survive until the end. You've even made out a carefully laid out plan of what you would do in any of the situations specified on creepypasta.com. But that stuff is just nonsense anyway, right? You aren't scared. Or at least, that's what you keep telling yourself. But wait. What was that? Was that the rustling of fabric? But you didn't shift in your bed or make any movement. Did you make that noise? No, you couldn't have. You're paralyzed in your bed, stiff with an unease that was not present until these very moments. You must have imagined it. You must have. You roll over to face the wall, out of sight, out of mind. If there's something in the room with you, it will just have to accept you are too tired to deal with it at the moment. You're still stricken with uneasiness as you hear rustling again. This time, it is accompanied by a soft thud on the ground. Your heart seizes in your chest. Did you really just hear that? No, you've gotten yourself worked up about nothing. You know, you really should stop playing horror survival games so late at night. It's messing with your brain. You're a rational person. Stop acting so childish and just fall asleep already. You close your eyes tightly, silently hoping that sleep will whisk you away soon. You're practically begging for the safety of the non-existent dream world of your own creation. You're running away in a sense, but there's nothing there, right? You're just tired. I know. As your eyes are clenched tightly shut, you become aware that no matter how much you want to, you can no longer move your arms and legs. Come on now. Are you really letting this get to you? What are you, 12 years old? Suck it up and fall asleep already. Now more tense than ever, that unnerving sound echoes across the room again. The rustling of fabric followed by a soft thud on the ground. Unwittingly, you're holding your breath now, eyes shut as tightly as possible. You have the childish urge to pull the blanket over your head. Oh, come now, you're imagining it all. It's all in your head. I thought you were better than this. Your heart is pounding loudly in your ears now, but not loudly enough to drown out the now repetitive sound approaching from across the room. What is that rustling? Maybe you left some paper on the ground. That has to be it. And the thumping? Probably the cat or the dog or something. They probably ran in when you weren't looking before you closed the door. Yeah, you're just paranoid. The noise is now within a foot of your bed, and with your back to it, You don't dare turn around to investigate. Not that it'd do you much good. The only light in your room is the dull glow of your cell phone on the nightstand next to you. You plugged it in before you crawled into bed, remember? But you don't dare turn around and look. There's nothing there anyway. Minutes that feel like hours pass as you face your wall, stiff as a board, unable to will your uncooperative body to move. You haven't heard the noises in a while now, not since it reached the edge of your bed. You know there's nothing there, you silly. It's this silence, it's messing with you. You really should have turned on some music or something before you went to bed. Oh well, maybe next time. Suddenly, a familiar clang echoes through the room, followed by that familiar whirring. You exhale deeply, your body relaxing as you are flooded with relief. Thank God that's over. Now you can finally sleep in peace. That silence was really getting to you, you know. You roll over and open your eyes to check the time on your lit cell phone. It must have been at least an hour since you first went to bed. You are greeted face to face with his ear-to-ear grin.
Dimly lit sockets where eyes once resided stare intently at you. I see you're still awake.
When you're home alone, do you hear the noise of walking or various footsteps in another room? Do you hear the faint whispers or shouts of your name? What are those noises? Where do they come from? Well, you may think that they are your imagination acting up, but I assure you that they are not. Chills do not run up your spine when a possum runs across your grave. No, you get chills when your instincts tell you you're not alone. When the thing in the back of your mind simply brings itself forward. You may run, but you can't escape it. Fear is a feeling you may not get away from. When you feel sad or upset, watching a movie or listening to music will drown out that emotion, but not with fear. No, you see, if you're afraid, there is no escape until you can prove to your brain that you are truly alone. However, what if you just cannot prove that you're alone? What if those footsteps and voices just get worse as your fear rises? You know you can't shake it off. There's nothing to take your mind off of it. This reality in which we live is an unforgiving hole of despair and depression. We can startle ourselves into a fantasy of emotion, but how long does that really last? If you think about it, we will all die, but what causes death? Does your own fear cause death? What about the chain letter you never reposted in junior high school? We knew nothing of death, but we knew fear. Ah yes, back to fear. What are you afraid of? Are you afraid of that ghost you saw last year? Or maybe the disembodied calling of your name? Maybe even the footsteps you've heard. When you're home alone, do you hear the noise? I lay in my bed, restless and alone on a dark and silent night. I toss and turn in my bed, trying to find a comfortable spot, but I feel uneasy. Something about tonight just doesn't feel right. I toss and turn until I finally find a comfortable position. I close my eyes, but it doesn't make a difference. It's too dark in my room to see a thing anyways. I guess it takes time for my eyes to adjust to darkness. I lay there, still and silent on a dark and dank night. My body is relaxed, my mind is blank, and I'm ready for some much-needed rest. Instantly, the silence is shattered and my mind fills with fearful thoughts as my startled eyes flash open. Knock. Knock. It's almost undoubtedly the sound of a fist on glass, but no, it couldn't be. What would someone's motivation be to wake someone alone in their home? Think logically. If someone wanted to break in, why would they warn me with a knock? They would just break in, making a loud and obvious noise, or try to be as silent as possible. Why would they knock? Monsters don't exist. I could give myself some peace of mind and simply look out the window, but I'm facing the other way. I'm too timid to turn my head, afraid of finding my greatest fear standing outside my window. What could it be, though? Maybe a couple of birds flew into my window. No, that's too unrealistic. Could a group of kids be running around late at night knocking on windows to get a few laughs? It's a possibility. Come to think of it, maybe it was my imagination. Maybe I heard the usual creak in the house and my paranoid mind has mistaken it for a knock. 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 Nope. That definitely wasn't my imagination. Those damn kids are persistent. They don't want to quit until they get that reaction. Maybe some sick, twisted freak is standing outside waiting for me to look so he can smash through and attack me. No, don't think that. Don't get paranoid. Besides, he's outside, I'm inside. Till I hear a shatter, I know I'm safe. Monsters don't exist. Besides, I haven't moved yet. Hopefully those kids will think I'm a heavy sleeper and leave me alone. Knock. Knock. No, it can't be kids. No kid would wait around this long just to get a reaction from one lonely guy. They'd just get bored and move along. But what could it be? Why would a serial killer target me of all people? Think logically. Monsters don't exist. Don't get paranoid. They're outside. I'm inside. Until I hear a shatter, I know I'm safe. But if it's not a monster or some sort of killer, what could it be? Just pretend to be asleep and maybe they'll go away. Knock. Knock. Oh God, I can't think of a noise I hate more than that persistent knock. Please go away. Just leave me alone and let me be. Oh, there's no hope. It's going to get in here and do sick and horrible things to me. Inhale. Take deep breaths. I can feel my heart pound out of my chest. Just relax. Monsters don't exist. Remember, they're outside. I'm inside. Until I hear a shatter, I know I'm safe. Repeat that. Don't let your fear get the best of you. Just pretend to be asleep. Don't move a muscle. Knock. Knock. They're outside. I'm inside. Until I hear a shatter, I know I'm safe. Monsters don't exist. Just pretend to be asleep and pray it'll go away. Knock. Knock. They're outside. I'm inside. Until I hear a shatter, I know I'm safe. Frightful tears begin to drip down my face. Monsters don't exist. Monsters do not exist. I begin to whisper to myself. They're outside. I'm inside. Until I hear a shatter, I know I'm safe. They're outside. I'm inside. Until I hear a shatter, I know I'm safe. Knock, knock. I can't take it anymore. I'm gonna go mad listening to these knocks. At least if I see what it is, I'll have peace of mind. Take a deep breath. I repeat to myself one last time. They're outside. I'm inside. Until I hear a shatter, I know I'm safe. I take a few more breaths, my heart pounding as hard as it's ever pounded at a mile a minute, as I slowly turn my head to face the window. My heart sinks into my chest, and I'm too afraid to scream or move. I turned my head to find a pale figure with beady black eyes staring through me and into my soul as a horrid grin creeps across its face. It was standing inside the whole time, knocking on my damn window. When thinking back to my earliest memories, nothing is concrete. A string of hazy images come to mind like random snapshots out of time, each one associated with certain feelings and emotions. They are imbued with a mystical, dreamlike quality, a gift born of childhood naivety. The magic of every Christmas when Santa was still real, for example, is an experience of pure joy that is lost with maturity. Many of these snapshots are impossible to place in any sort of context. They're just there, sunken in the crevices of the brain without rhyme or reason, playing with my dad's beard in a wood-paneled room, him smiling down at me, comforting, or discovering a long row of marching ants in someone's wooded backyard, all by myself. Exciting. Some of them don't even seem real in hindsight. Did I actually fall from that tree by the lake only to land on my feet without a scratch? Was it really a dream? I don't think so. Sure, I have memories of distant dreams, but there is a clear distinction between the dreams and reality of my past. I don't know how I can tell, I just can't. And for this reason, one memory has always troubled me. The experience was so surreal, and yet certain details stand out with marked clarity. I'm not exactly sure when it happened. I couldn't have been older than 5 or 6. My brother and I were sleeping in our bunk bed. Because he was older, he got the top bunk. I had just woken up, but it was still nighttime. But something felt different. I remember seeing and smelling the rain, but not hearing it. The window was open, and it was very cold in the room. Why was the window open? The curtains were gently flapping, but there was no breeze. The quiet was so intense it buzzed through my ears. I'd been lying on my side with one arm dangling off the edge of the bed. Gradually, I became aware that it was warmer near the floor. I felt some kind of heated breeze gently strike my hand, coming and going in short bursts, and finally I recognized it as someone's breathing. Then, the woman slid out from under my bed. The nightlight showed that she had long blondish hair and wore a white nightgown, and in the dimness I thought it was my mother. I wasn't at all scared. It's funny how a child's mind works. What's Mommy doing under the bed? Must be getting something or checking for monsters. I was too tired to say anything and remained motionless, watching. The woman was on her back, but her face stayed in the shadows. She rolled over and crawled on all fours to the far end of the bed, then glided up the ladder to the top bunk. Her every movement was silky smooth and completely silent. She reminded me of a white ribbon dancing in the wind. I closed my eyes and fell back to sleep. I also remember my brother telling me about a weird dream the next morning. He dreamt of a woman who lived under the floor and came out at night to play in the rain. When her clothes got soaked, she went back inside and would whisper things to anyone who was sleeping. It became a recurring dream for him until our family moved out of that house. Strange what the brain chooses to remember.